monthly chart with closing prices, and I got an up channel and a down channel, and it looks like we're about to break the down channel. We're right up against the fourth touch to this line. So, in a momentum sense, it's drifting down, and not to say that it's going to, like, this is the bottom, it's going to break that channel and just keep going up, because the market could go sideways and tread water through a lot of these failed attempts to hold a trend line. And once it breaks it, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to fall apart either. Like, I'm sure somebody had a trend line here, right? See, they said, well, I'm buying here because we're going to just keep going up. But that became resistance at this point. So as this thing rolls over through these zones, that's a critical thing. And this is the same thing happened here. And there's actually a double. Could have drawn two lines there. So nice thing about this kind of system of trading is that you can always draw a line there. You're not breaking a rule. So that's a key level. That's a double support became resistance. For the bears, if this is a real breakout, then we would continue and just drift down into, say, 970 by beginning of next year. And we could just kind of just slowly drift down here. Or we're going to spike down real hard, like you did back here. And it spiked down here, it came back into this top. So you're right in this wedge here. And a lot of the gold bugs right now, they're totally like, okay, this is the time to load the wagon on this puppy. And I don't know if I would load the wagon on anything, because I think it depends how much you're risking and all that nonsense. But it's interesting to look at. And this is just a classic move where they trap the bears. And if this does not follow through, your first target has to be the last known bottom, which it's not a lot of money, but you're going to get out here at 1165. You got to get out. As far as the most, now that the market's just turned into a range trading market, I mean, the drama is kind of, it's not like you're going to see this thing launch off a pad here, but it actually, markets can do that. And certainly, if you did break this trend line, you'd have to create a scenario for the for what's going to happen after that. And not with going too far into the future, but typically you would have to have some type of an idea that you're going to, say, find support here, and then it's going to weasel its way out and pop up, and maybe you'll make whatever this number is, $40, $50, who knows. In the end, it becomes like, what time frame are you trading? Because you can make just as many dollars trading gold if you trade every zigzag for the next year than if you buy here and you're like, yep, it's going up. It could go up that quickly, actually. Are you prepared to take your profits along the way? Would you get out at 1500? I mean, all these questions are about making money on these trades. And to analyze the market is completely different than trading the market. I mean, there's people that analyze the market, have blogs that they would never, or maybe they're stackers, right? They're buying, so as they're watching it come down. But it's on a monthly chart, for God's sakes, this is a year of just garbage, right? A year trapped at 1400 to this. And unless you lower your expectations of how many dollars you want to make, how many pips or whatever it is in gold, you're trapped in just trying to figure out a way to drop down to a time frame that you can tolerate and trade that. So it's just interesting that you're at this price level here. And of course, this is the middle of the year, and I suppose you could, you're counting all the way back. This is 2008, unbelievably. And this is all the drama in the stock market and all that. but this top became the bottom, and you're stuck with this 690 area as your key. And some people have stops there. They're long called for like the next 20 years. But I can think it depends how long you're going to live. You know, gold may be trading at $10,000 in 40 years, but of course, you know, at that point, some of us will be dead. But I guess if you're going to have an estate or something and you want to leave money to the whatever it is, and maybe everything does go through the floor and gold becomes the key fulcrum for every value out there. But typically in these situations, if you read the newspapers or you read people's predictions of the future, a lot of people are wrong. There's a whole list of stuff like that on the internet of like, I think it was like some Swiss watchmaker said to Casio when they came out with their digital watch, they said, "Get out of here." And I mean, digital watches became the thing. They just said, "No, that'll never. Nobody wants a battery in their watch. They all want real watches that are made in Switzerland, Rolex." And a lot of people went bankrupt. A lot of people just the whole market moved away from them. And you know, so markets can do anything. And if it did take out the 690 era, because it's just take years for this stuff to happen. I mean, yeah, gold's all the way back down to the floor. You know, I'll be there in a minute. Hey, hold your horses, buddy. But I mean, in the big picture, yeah, I mean, gold come all the way back down the starting gate here. Remember with good old fashioned prices, and seriously, if you just start over here and just take a look, hey, I said I'll be there. Damn, buddy. We're not deaf. God, seriously. Oh, okay, that's it. Listen, man. Get out of your car, dude. God, what are you, quadriplegic? God damn, man. The neighborhood's terrible here. Yeah, I mean, in the big picture, because I'm not looking at the big picture. I mean, I was looking at the hourly chart, but I don't know. I guess I have a problem with this whole gold thing. If you look at it just like this without a trend line, it looks like it's going down. Like, I mean, it looks like, you know, you're screwed. If I was long this thing with stops, I would just be, of course, this is a 1 hour chart. But yeah, I mean, this is, so you can put any spin on gold you want. Here is the daily view. And I suppose in the rear view mirror, you could keep this monthly just so you keep a little perspective. But who doesn't want this trade down here? Here's a triangle on the daily. Of course, you had to wait a couple days here for this trade. Not into that. But you have a nice, perfect trend line you can draw on these 4 tops. And you got a channel down here. It's just adorable little channel. And you have that last trap of the bear trap. So you really want to get in down here where this bottom was supposed to become this double bottom was supposed to become a top, and we were supposed to just keep tanking. And this is the one that they talked about, the market manipulation. Are you kidding me? How stupid are people? Look at the monthly here. You mean to tell me there weren't stops stacking up here? All it was is a stop clearing. There's no like, well, you know, the Chinaman jumped in front of the market. No, they didn't. People have stops in there. And besides, even if they did, they got a good trade out of that. Now, you know, the point to get the hell out of that trade obviously had to have been this low. Yeah, you got out there because bottoms become tops. Just like this before we collapsed. The bottom became a top. The bottom became a top. It's just stupid 101 trading. It's not market manipulation, people. Come on. If you believe that manipulation is people trading, yes, the market's being manipulated. It's like saying it's sunny out, and your point is, well, it's making the plants grow, and I got to keep cutting my lawn. I mean, the logic is just so retarded. I told you, get the fuck out of the car. So, I mean, are you kidding me, people? I just can't stand these, you know, videos I watch where people are like, I want gold in my hands. I'm like, well, you got to be kidding me. Who cares? Like, do you have a lack of ass cancer right now? Okay, you're doing good. Now just go trade, go scalp, go to the 1 hour chart, or just give your money to somebody else to trade. If you can't look at a 1 hour chart or a daily chart, you know, give your money to somebody else to invest it. Have them put them in a gold fund. You know, get that guy from Knots Landing to put your money at work. Anyways, I don't get it. And this, my neighbor's just, get out of your car, please. So here is the, gold looks like it's just going to keep melting down here. Of course, from the standpoint of trading gold, it's a whole different world. Like, here's a double bottom. Like, who's not trading this double bottom for a run up? Now, what happened here now a lot of people are going to talk about this is market manipulation. What happened here? It's hilarious. Well, look what they did. They took it all. Yeah, took it up within 50 cents of that and ripped it back. Well, he should have had a sell limit up there, obviously, right? And who couldn't see that coming? Who couldn't see this zone in here that was filling up this vapor lock, this whole zone in here? Like, are you just so stupid? You can't see that there's bears, all the bears, okay, that were trading this downtrend. Like, I don't care what kind of moving average you have. You're like, okay, it's going down on the 1 hour, a half hour. You know, really? Like, you're not expecting one of these clearings? You're not expecting a clearinghouse? It's an auction market. For God's sakes. Yeah, we clear it here and then we come after this, right? You got to have a strategy for that. Otherwise, of course, you're like, wait a minute. I was long gold and everything was great, and I put my trailing stop in, and I'm like, oh, they stopped me. Okay, you're just, you shouldn't be trading the markets, but to hear people talk about the markets, to just crack you up. I just watched this guy saying, well, there's a big death candle on the S&P. I'm like, when I looked at the whole chart, I'm like, well, looks like at least a scalp to buy. I mean, where else is your money going to go? And the idea that they printed all this money, obviously nobody cares, because the world goes into irrationality all day long. I mean, they're killing people just to kill. I mean, the amount of retardation that it currently exists in every category of life. I mean, trading almost makes more sense. Like this bottom, if you had a sell limit here or a sell stop, you wrote it here, but look how they retested that. Isn't that fascinating? Well, once you discover, obviously you start to see that on the charts, and with a half a side of gray matter, you can certainly draw trend lines in this, right? Let's hope. Here we go back to normal mode here. So, okay, just calm down. Let's be okay. But here's the trend line we're holding, right? So you broke it, you pulled back. Obviously, you got to start thinking about getting long gold here, because maybe we are going to break. And if it's only to break this monthly trend line, okay, it's a good trade. I mean, the idea that gold is some type of whatever. But long-term investment, yeah, long-term investment look like that. Like, okay, well, I'll buy. I have a pending buy limit sitting down here, waiting about 10 years to get filled here at 670. But if it's not for the trade, like the guy says in this gold video, he says, well, it's not a trade, Like, why isn't it a trade? Why isn't everything a trade? Like, if you trade to be at the movies, you traded not to stay home and beat your wife, right? It's all a trade. There's no such thing as it not being a trade, and anybody that's ever traded will realize at some point that, everything's a trade in life. I mean, it's always a trade. Like, do I go long or do I go short? Now, that would be two decisions. And the thing is, do you go long or short, and how big are you in, and how long are you in? So there's only three things. And that's my next video, is the 3 keys to trading, or 3 keys to making money. And those would be, you need execution. And it may sound really silly, but what you need is a broker to clear your trades. And you need a button to push, or you need to place an order. The second thing is, how big are you in? Size compared to, and then the next thing is, how long are you in that trade? Are you in that trade for 40 years, or are you in that trade for 40 seconds? And that's the only three things that matter if you want to make money trading. And I'm presupposing that trading means you're going to get in and out. You're not going to hold this thing. You're not investing. Real estate's the place to be right now. There's, forget gold. I mean, yeah, okay, I got some gold coins I could break out of my box, but real estate's the place to be. It's record lows, and we don't know what's going to happen with the interest rates, mortgage rates. If they go up, there's going to be a scramble. There's always a scramble. I'm looking at I live in a place that has more abandoned homes than well, I guess Detroit would definitely eclipse it. But, this place, it's a gold mine. You have complete, the government hate them to death, but they took over a lot of the property and they're just selling it at a loss. Or they just, they're just shuffling stuff. They're trying to get people to go back into property. Yeah, because then they've really got you. And I mean, this is really the, owning gold, and then somebody said they're going to confiscate gold and all this nonsense. Well, land is a little hard to confiscate, but they can tax the hell out of you if you live on a piece of property. So that is the only leverage point left on the whole planet is land. There's only so much land. I mean, this is the old saw you would hear from back in the day when people would invest. People would say, they only make so much land. So that is the ultimate. Gold, forget about it. It's a trader's market. To have it in your hands is ridiculous because what are you going to do, right? You're gonna go to the store and be like, oh, I don't know if we break that. I mean, you can go into a store with $100 bill and they'll say to you, I don't know if we can break that. Or it'll say, we can't make change. There's stores that won't even give you cash back because they're getting robbed. It says right there, no cash back. And everything's in a damn safe, and people are stealing stuff all the time. And, everybody feels entitled to steal because they're like, well, there's, the world's screwed up. So you have this kind of like, it's okay to be a complete asshole. Well, it's not. I don't understand I guess the view I'm looking at is people are selling their products, so they have to sell fear. So you come to their blog, you come to their website, you get on the fear train. You're all, I hate to break everybody's heart, but everybody's going to die. And unless you have immortality, which would be offspring, you've made some babies, it doesn't matter. It just simply doesn't matter. What matters is your lifestyle. Are you a crackhead or are you a civilized person doing good things? And of course, I hate to get all like philosophical, political, but it's all tied together because if you're trading these markets, what's the point, right? What is the point in predicting that? And the whole idea of forecasting the market, well, it's completely pointless. They can't forecast the weather. So why not just trade the 1 hour chart or the 15-minute chart and predict the weather for the next 10 minutes? It's like I can predict that it's probably not going to rain. I don't see any clouds coming. So for an hour, we're good. Okay, we can set up shop, have a picnic, get out the plaid doilies and go for it. But, the idea that you're going to plan that far in advance, I think this is completely ridiculous. But maybe that's because I'm impatient, so it doesn't fit into my paradigm. But the thing is, I just don't get it, and I don't know what to say. I mean, just every time you turn around, there's somebody saying, "Oh no, this is but really, obviously, real estate. If you're thinking in terms of something to hold in your bare hands, yeah, because you can take your lawn and you can, instead of having it a lawn like Britain, where it's just a stupid lawn you cut, you put vegetables on it. I mean, this whole idea, these Americans, I just don't get it. I got these neighbors, they cut their lawn, and every time they cut it, I think to myself, what are you doing? Can't you plant some tomatoes? I mean, this is just nothing but aesthetic garbage. You're going to play croquet? They don't even play lawn darts or croquet on it. Like, what is the point? Okay, a little sidetracked there. But, yeah, gold, come on, people. I put up a dollar grid here. If you're loading the wagon on this trade and you got a dollar stop, of course, the spread's got kind of hairy there, and we can't see the spread here when we were up here. I don't know what the spread was. Maybe the spread was $5 up here. So if you had a stop on that, you got kicked out. But I don't know. Obviously, coming into Asia here, you got buy limits down here. Okay, here's the trade plan. Buy limits down here. Buy stops up on the top here. Totally got it. I anger clicked that. So yeah, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Buy stops here. Buy limits down here. If you come down here, yeah. But I want to be the guy that buys the very edge and sells the very edge. Most times, it's a range trader's market. I guess my point is that, see, some guy's got a stop here. You put a dollar stop on that. Well, you want to buy that stop, at least for that ride. Now, when the market goes sideways, you're thinking more like a girl, like volatility. I just saw this interview with this girl, and she's at FX Street, and she's at some Forex symposium. She goes, I just wait for the market to get quiet and put an order in. I thought, yeah, she waits for the breakout and waits for a pullback. You don't always get the pullback, but maybe this was her pullback to go short, so she made this much money. So there's two ways to approach trading. You're either bracketing this thing with breakouts, or you're waiting for the breakout to happen, then you're looking to get in the other side of that trade. But how long, if you can make this much money per day trading on just silly setups where, trend line broke, okay, or you have trailing sell stops this whole time, whoosh, trailing buy stops, whoosh, you're trying to make like $3, $5, $1.50, that's your life, right? You go to the 4-hour chart, maybe you want to take more risk, and so you go to the 4-hour chart, you're like, oh, well, I got a pending order down here to buy gold, and sting, sting. Oh, here's the top, became a bottom. Here's resistance. Oh, we didn't make it there, but it's all right. I'm selling as it goes up. Or you're longer on a short time frame. I don't know. It's just stupid. And there's just not a lot of good trades on the 4-hour chart, but I mean, it's all about how big you're in. Like I said, there's only 3 things that matter. Can you pull the trigger? Is there a place to pull the trigger? Do you have a broker? Do you know what size you want to trade, and how long do you want to be in the market? Because you could be in the market for 40 seconds or 40 years, And so that's my gold, the weekly gold.